Mr. Andre. Hey, dude, you're like me, man. As it goes back, it goes.
Yeah, it's sort of going back.
Replacing.
Just had a swim.
Beautiful in the sea.
I still got more than you, though.
Yeah, but Aaron, what are you laughing at? Right. Let's wait for a few more people to come on. I got some lekker things I want to share with you guys today. You guys know that I love these sessions. Even if I'm the only one, you know, I'll still have it. Whoever's here. So, turn up the sound. This is enough. Elizabeth. She was us just now. Good morning. Joyce, how's Joyce? Give me the spot. Let's give another 2 minutes. The song in the meantime.
Driving down the freeway at night. I only got one thing in the back of my mind. I'm feeling like this might be my time to shine with you, with you, with you. I got my head out the sunroof. I'm blasting our favorite tunes. I only got one thing on my mind. You got me stuck on the thought of you. You're making me feel brand new. You're more than a sunshine in my eyes. I got my head out the sunroof.
There's been a request that I start to put the training and the presentation on YouTube. These ones I will do. I'll start putting them on YouTube. I'll leave Rumble for I'll leave Rumble for crypto training stuff, which is what YouTube they just say they don't like it. But we know they're a load of nonsense anyway. All right, guys, ladies, thank you so much for joining. Wonderful. If you're listening to the recording, get here live. It's more powerful. Put in the chat box there. Put in the chat box there. How are we feeling today? I'm feeling quite excited, actually. Who's feeling excited? Anybody feeling frustrated? Put it in there. Annoyed, upset. Oh, it's Saturday. Can you believe it's February next week already? What's happening? I swear the Chinese have mastered the act of spinning the ball faster. So just time flies like this. Does anybody else feel like that? Or am I alone in this world of this chaos? Time's flying, says Oren. Yeah, it is, mate. Oh, well, means we've got to just do stuff faster than we were doing before to keep up. Huh? What do you think on that? All right. So let's jump in. What we're going to talk about today. So we've got a couple of things to speak on. It's pay weekend for some people. It is. They've gone shopping. It's been, what do they say? January is the longest month of the year because, trying to get to the end of January. So payday, I get it. People have gone out and they're spending the money that they now went into the credit card and they went, yay, I put in the credit card and ching, it just goes straight out again. Well, one of the reasons why we hang around here is to try and break out of that horrible, that vicious cycle that we're all sitting in. So yeah, guys, no problem. Love it. Let's crack in. There's some things I want to share with you today. And then Coach B is just going to chat very quickly about a beautiful strategy that him and Sandra are running. I like the music. Hey, Joyce. So do I. I like the music. I just had to press stop. I think I stopped. Otherwise, it's a balance between me and the sound. And right now, I'd rather you heard me than the sounds, although you might want to listen to the sound. So Coach B is going to be chatting just now, and then we're going to, Ningi and Dr. C are going to be sharing their perspectives on why did we announce phase 3 when most people are still on phase 1, haven't got a clue how to get to phase 2. But here we go and say, here's phase 3. Why? And they're going to unpack some of that with you a little bit more because last week was just the announcement. But before we get there, just want to recap a little bit. Put in the chat box. Have you listened to the last 2 weeks of the Saturday trainings, where 2 weeks ago I spoke about 5 areas to focus on Just 5 areas instead of 100 things in a new year, 5 areas. And I spoke about BHAGs and just identifying 2 big audacious goals. Just put a 1 in the chat box there. If you attended, if you came on that one. Yes, you done mine. Good man. Well done, Aaron. Thank you. Put in the chat box there. You attended that. The next one is last week. Did you come to last week when I spoke about who? And I shared with you my strategy of what I call the GAP, the goal activation plan, to take you from here, from who you are to who you want to be. Did you come to that? Put a 2 in the chat box there. If you came to last week, that's the second. Coach Bernard, thank you. Yes. Who else came to that one? Maybe you weren't live, but you listened to the recording. Excellent. Elizabeth, yay, 2, fantastic. You'll notice over the next couple of weeks, and I mentioned this last week, that every week I'm going to build on it. Now, it doesn't mean that if you didn't listen to the second week, like last week, that today won't mean anything for you, but it'll definitely be more powerful and more impactful as we build on it. Okay, we're going to build on it together. So I do have a strategy, and you don't need to know what the strategy is, because all I want you guys to do is focus for the week on what I share today. So please, if you haven't, you listen to this recording and you haven't been through week 1 of this year, which was the second week, and then last week, go back, watch them. Today will be more powerful, but I'm going to start 1 and 2. Joyce, superstar, man. Absolutely amazing. All right. I'm going to start by just doing a quick recap on what I spoke about last week. I'm going to start with a bit of a story on myself. And then I'm going to lead on. We're going to break down a little bit of the who. And I'm actually going to share a video that I came across this past week. This gent that I've connected with in the US, he did a TEDx talk on who. And it really caught my attention. I've actually got a meeting with him this coming week, and I'm so excited to actually meet him. He's in the US. I'm going to share his perspective on who, because when I first came across him and I saw what he was talking about, I was like, this is my guy. This is my guy, and I'm learning so much from him. So I'm going to share his perspectives. Then I'm going to wrap it off, and then we're going to hand over. So are we ready to go? Are we ready? Have we got one of these? Some of you don't recognize one of these. Have you got one? Has everybody got one? Open your camera and show me you got one. Who's got one of these? It's called a pen. This is specifically a Bic. I like the Bic. Yay, Andre. There, Aaron's typing. Aaron, go for it typing. Noel's got a pen. You see, Noel knows me. Noel knows the power of this. Yes, type it. But here's what happens when you write it down. It's a different process in your brain. It gets ingrained more in the conscious thinking when you're actually writing it down. So the way that I actually personally, just a very quick story, the way that I do webinars or any conference, anything I'm going, I write everything down. Afterwards, I go through it. I identify a couple of key points that then I type. It goes into my documents that I've got there of lessons learned on my laptop so that I can refer back to it, use it, etc. It reinforces. Pen. Anyway, right. I digress. My whole journey, and a few of you know a little bit of my journey, so you're going to hear it again. Bear with me, but maybe it's important. And if you don't, my journey in who. So when I first started out in personal development in 2008, it was a very strong focus in why. Why do you do this? What's your dream and goal? Why do you want that money? Why do you want to pay off your debts? Why do you want to go on holiday? Why do you want your kids in private school? Why? What is your dream? Why will you do this? And the reason was the driving factor in, and still is, in majority of network marketing businesses where they focus on dreams. And the sayings, for example, come along and you'll hear them. If the dream is big enough, the facts don't count. And I love that. I really grasped hold of it. However, what I discovered over the time was why is just not enough. Because if it was enough, anybody who sets a New Year's resolution, who sets a goal and says, I want to be debt free. I want that new car, my kids in private school, holidays, retirement, whatever your why is. If that was enough, everybody would already have what they want. You would. Simple as that. But there's more to it. And it took me on a many years of personal discovery to try and work out, but what am I missing? What's that little piece of the puzzle, as I like to say? I'm just going to share my screen here quickly. What is the piece of puzzle that I'm missing? All right, you guys, you can see my screen. Okay. And it was on this journey, and I spoke about this last week, so I'm just going to quickly go through it now, because then we're going to get on to what I want to talk about, being very aware of time. This is where the why is spoken about, your reason and your goal. Simon Sinek, it begins with why. These guys do it, and it's powerful, and I'm not saying it's wrong. It was just that from the perspective of what I like to talk about, there was something missing. Then they speak about how. You don't need to focus on, but how am I going to get there? The how, be careful about focusing on the system without knowing why. And then you've got the what, and this is where companies fall down. And this is where so many people say, but what do I need to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And it just becomes so hard. And you say, well, goodness, this is hard work. There was a guy posted this past week on LinkedIn, I think it was, or Facebook. And he was saying, life is hard. Business is hard. You have to work hard. And I sent him a private note, and I said, Bruce, his name's Bruce. And I said to him, Bruce, why don't you change the word hard to joy? I work joyously. Life is joy. If you're saying it's hard, but he's focusing so much on what he's doing as opposed to why he's doing it and who he'll become by the attainment of Massini, no problem. Glad you're here. Who you become by the attainment of your why. The integral part is who you become in the journey. And if you can focus on and identify who you are now, and that's an integral part. If you do not know who you are right now, and here's the reality, 90% of people don't know who they are. You have this preconceived, this pre-programmed idea of who you are, programmed by your very good thinking and loving parents, by schools, indoctrinated in what I call the government indoctrination camps. I don't call them schools. It's slavery. That's all it is. Government indoctrination camps. They indoctrinate you. They tell you what to think, but they give you this persona that they expect you to live by. Shut up and sit there. Can I go to the toilet? No, you had a break an hour ago. You should have peed then. I didn't want to pee then. Shut up. Don't talk. Only answer when I speak to you. Those simple things ingrain, and they give us this false reality of who we think we are. But if you don't know who you are, how are you meant to identify who you would like to become? And that's that gap I spoke about, the goal activation plan. And thank you very much for the few of you, and there was some, it was phenomenal. Thank you for those who did, who reached out to me to say, please, Tim, send me that document. And if you've got the document and you found value in it, that PDF of the goal activation plan, put a 1 in the chat box there. If you asked me and you said yes, and you got value out of it. If you didn't, don't answer. Well, you can say yes, but I didn't get value out of it. Guys, you're welcome to ask me for that, and I'm happy to send it. Private DM me, and I'll send it through to you. Right. So let's focus on who. And then I came across this guy here. Okay. And I'll share this full YouTube link for you just now. I'm only going to play a snippet. It's about 6 minutes, but I just want you to really, really listen to this guy's journey in his discovery of who and why it's so important to talk about who. So I want you guys to, you should be able to hear the sound, but somebody can just please put in there and hear the sound. I'm just going to.
Every organization.
Have you got the sound?
That's what it's given me.
Yeah.
Being named a top 40 under 40 in technology and innovation, and being thanked by thousands of leaders and their teams for helping them win.
Guys, could you hear that sound? Somebody just in the chat box. I can't see your cameras.
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Perfect. Great stuff. Okay, listen to Atlas Altman, and I'll send you the full link later on. Okay, so you don't have to make too many notes. I want you to just really listen to what he has to say.
This is where it started. My mom was no joke. Anybody relate? She was serious about what she said. She placed me in places where I would learn valuable lessons. She also introduced me to books, seminars, and she kind of pushed me in the military direction because that's kind of what we do in our family. What I learned is I wanted to be a leader. I wanted to be the best leader I could be. And what I found was every leader needs to make decisions. And from chumps to champs, I found this model. You've probably seen it before. It's the 5 W's. Who, what, where, when, why, and if you're fancy, how. These 6 things, when paired together, give you the best choice and options to make the best decisions possible. Or so they say. What I found was when someone was appointed as a leader, they would get excited, like it was a gift. And they were going to unwrap it and have these immense changes unfold before them. But instead of a joyous holiday, they usually look like this ginger-bearded man. Yeah, in this photo, I'm looking at a leadership masterpiece. There's chess pieces everywhere, and I've got to win. Some people are playing checkers on my chessboard. There's pieces upon pieces because everybody wants to do the easy job. But as crazy as this looks, it works. Books and seminars and talks have gone countless hours about teaching you how this is awesome. So I used it, and I paired it with my mom's advice to decide what I was going to do with my life. And my friends, who were children still, started with why. They said, why don't you go into special forces like your grandpa? Get a Green Beret or a Ranger tab. Or why don't you become a Navy SEAL? You're an athlete. But my dad was wise. He started with who? He said, son, I know you. I know who you are. You are an athlete, but you're also an intellectual. And of all these job choices that the military is offering, this one will put you next to the top brass. This model got really confusing. But I took my dad's advice. And 2 years later, I was able to change the Air Force promotion system. They still use it today. Huge win for me, small win for the Air Force. But I got promoted to the rank of sergeant. And for those of you who aren't familiar with military terms, sergeant comes from the Greek word servant, leader. So I got my own decision bubble to work in. I was extremely excited. And since I made this major change, I got to work in a larger decision cycle. And I found something you probably have seen before. Instead of 6 things, it's only 3. See, 30 years ago, email was relatively new. And my decision makers were at the 4-star general level. So I printed out their emails and I put them in a binder for decision. One of the emails that I printed out said that my 4-star could make a decision.
Oh, goodness, sorry. Apologies, guys.
The best choice. 6 hours. See, 30 years ago, email was relatively new. And my decision makers were at the 4-star general level. So I printed out their emails and I put them in a binder for decision. One of the emails that I printed out said that my 4-star could make a decision on someone like me going to college and becoming a full-time leader, or what we call a commissioned officer. And I really wanted this. So I went in my boss's office. I said, sir, you think I could do this? He said, Altman, put your package together, we'll find out. 2 months later, the 4-star general came down and he gave me this note. And on it, it says, congratulations, I chose you. And I found a new model. I thought I had it figured out. I thought it was the 5 W's, but elite leaders only do 3. So I had to think again. And it changed my perspective. Because when I got this note, I felt like that guy you just saw. The weight just coming down on me. So I wanted to backwards plan this decision that was just made and all the other generals' decisions. And I found that the general only focuses on these three things. And this is how it looks, and you've seen it. When faced with a problem, you ask, how much is it going to cost for that problem to go away? How much time is it going to take, right? When can it be done? And then you ask, who can do it? The problem isn't the questions. The problem is the order that they're normally asked in, and it's that order. When you ask, how much does it cost? You bring it to the finance people. They crunch the numbers. The accountants come back with a figure. And then you go over to the time zone, and you ask the operations cell and the production folks, how much time should this take? And they say, if we start now, because they always say, if we start now. It's always, we're starting now. It should take this much time. And then they take that figure and the money figure, and they give it to someone like you, or they'd give it to me, and I go, this is a terrible idea. When do I start? Because like you, I didn't back down from a challenge. This model served me really well. So well that I used it thousands of missions, hundreds of elite people and teams. The most elite teams that I could be on. I found success with that model, and I thought I had it figured out. 30 countries. I got wicked problems, and I found wicked smart people to fix them. People were coming on to my team, trying to glom on to my wins, and I let them. And I'll tell you about that. But guess what? It's only one thing. Every general that I worked for, 4-star, 3-star, 2-star, 1-star, if they wore a star up here, they always looked at who. Who can fix this problem? And then they asked them, how do you fix this problem? And then they would come up with a figure, and they'd say, hey, it costs this much money and this much time. And guess what? You move faster that way.
I'll send you the rest of it now. He goes on to a lot more detail. Hold on a second. Let me just get off that one. There we go. You've got here a special forces guy who started out, and he used to focus. He's always had the who thing. That was his father's focus and his father's guy. But everybody else was asking, they were talking about the what and the why. Why don't you go into this? Why don't you go and do that? Why don't you go and do this? And his father said, no, but it's who you are. I know who you are. Right? You pick that up from the beginning. Then it's a matter of down the journey, it's who you actually become. So he got ingrained in these 5 different things, which made him feel like that photograph of that guy just looking down this chessboard, and it was chaos. And he said, other people coming on my chessboard and playing checkers, because there was just way too much to focus on. And after all his promotions, all his lessons and learnings and everything, and his 5-star generals, and whether you are a believer in the military or not, it doesn't matter. These guys are phenomenal leaders at how they can rally people together. And what do those leaders look at? They look at who is available, who is the person that can actually lead us there. Then the how and the why, the rest of it comes in play. So here's back to you. Who are you? So I'm a bit behind on time, guys, but that doesn't matter. I might go 5 minutes over. Forgive me. I hope you don't mind. If you don't like it, well, you can lock off or just go make a cup of coffee and come back when somebody else is speaking. But I want to cover a couple of questions for you here. Okay, who liked that? Elite leaders, yes, Dr. C. Too much confusion, all the question when it's so simple, just to look at who you are. The logistics does not matter. Your personhood counts. I love that. Your personhood counts. I'm going to adopt that. I'm going to grab that from you, Dr. C. Thank you. Brilliant. So I'm going to take you through some questions, which I would like you to write down and take with you and just spend a bit of time on going through this. And this is further stages of my professional pointer program that I run my clients through, where now we're starting to get down deep and dirty and getting really, and asking you to go through some introspective analysis. And the first thing is, we can get clouded by how many areas there are in our lives on our who journey, on who we want to become. And there's 7 main areas. You can write all these down if you want, but otherwise, all I want you to do is pick 2 or 3, no more than 3 of these. And these would be areas that you would want to focus on your journey this year. To take all 7 is, again, too much. And sometimes we grab so many things into our lives that we really want to improve on our spirituality, our mentality, our vocation, which is our business, the financial side, family, social, physical, our bodies, that it just becomes too much. And then we get overwhelmed. And what do? Nada, nothing. So pick 2 or 3 of those. And those are the who's that you're going to focus on. And then I would like to ask, and this is the exercise, what 5 words would your friends use to describe you now? And be honest. If you had to ask your 5 closest friends, family, what 5 words would you use to describe me? How do you believe other people see you? Now, there's a whole other exercise that I do, and maybe we'll do it next week, which is their perspectives on you. But right now, I just want you to focus on, how would your friends describe you now? Write that down. What 5 words would my friends use to describe me now that I think? I'm not going to go and ask them. I want your perspective. You write your perspectives down on here and be honest. As for you only, you're not going to share with anybody else, but it requires you to go in deep. It's the first question. The next question, if you had your best year of personal growth, your ideal year that at the end of 2024, you were this person that you'd become, what 5 words would your friends best use to describe you then? This is part of creation of that gap. I hope you're understanding. It goes back to the goal activation plan, the gap between who you are now and who you'd like to be. But when you're using it from somebody else's third-party perspective, it gets us thinking a little bit differently. If you had the best year yet of personal growth, in whichever area of those you want to speak on, you want to focus on, what 5 words would your friends use to describe you as at the end of 2024? Write them down. We got that. We got that. Okay, moving on. From those 5 traits, those 5 descriptors, adjectives that your friends would describe you as, or you would like them to describe you as, who do you know that has these traits already? Now, you may know them personally. Maybe they're part of your community, your church, organizations, clubs that you're part of. Or perhaps it's a person that you know through social media, or if give you an example, my example, I use it many, many times, is one of the areas that I'm focusing on is my professional speaking. And there's various elements of what Tony Robbins does in capturing the attention and the emotional state of his audience that I look at. So then I'm having a look at saying, right, so Tony Robbins is somebody I would like to align myself with on a number of traits. Maybe not all of them, but a lot of them. Goes to then the 4th question. Have you got the 3rd one down? Who do you know that has these traits? The 4th one is, what capabilities, trainings, or insights do you need in order to become that person? What capabilities, trainings, and insights do you need in order to become that person? We got that. You've written that down. Great, man. That's fantastic. Now, if I take my example very quickly and I say, right, Tony Robbins, one of the things is that his ability to connect people on an emotional base, but get the psychological shift so effectively and quickly. If you've ever seen any of his seminars, and one day I hope to be in an audience of his, where the way that he uses his wording, his suggestive terminologies, is what's called NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. It's a phenomenally effective way to get people to help people, help people, guide people to move into a new frame of thinking, a new paradigm, is NLP. So he studied years ago NLP. I had not. I am still a student of NLP. So I started to learn NLP. The other thing that Tony Robbins knows a lot about is the power of breath work. He uses breath work in so many of his modalities, and he teaches his exercises or his mindfulness program that he has every morning. His routine is a huge amount about breath work. I studied breath work. So that's where you have a look at. And when you can identify a who, you've got something to benchmark yourself as or towards. Yes, you can say, but I don't want to copy. I don't want to. No, it doesn't matter. Forget about all that stuff. And what do they call it? Plagiarism. Man, please. We plagiarize all the time, but I just give credit. I just give credit to the person that I'm using the information from. Dr. John DeMartini, I use his stuff all the time. Tony Robbins, I use his. I'll always refer and say, it's not mine. This, what you're reading on here, is mine. That's why it's got my stamp on it. There you'll see it all has, because this is my IP. But if it's not, I'll tell you whose it comes from, without question, because that's where I believe these guys are the experts, and I then mirror myself to them, because they've got things that I would like. So on the last step, I think that's the last, yes, it's the last bit on the slide now, is, before we move on, in identifying who you are, also have a thought about identifying who you are not. Who am I and who am I not? Don't be that person that you're not. That's fake. And the one thing that we need in life is authenticity, is real, genuine people. So what I do, this is who I am. This is where I'm going. This is how I'm going to get there. That's the goal activation plan, right? But those hows start to materialize as you're going on your journey. But don't pretend to be who you are not. Too much fake out there at the moment in the world. And one of my personal words for this year is authenticity. It's a focus of mine. Am I where I would like to be? Or let me rephrase that. You see, I still slip. Am I who I'd like to be? No, not yet. But I'm sure as hell enjoying the journey. I sure am. So, recap a little bit. We spoke about the who again. We spoke about focusing on why. Yes, it's an essential part, but primarily if you're focusing on who you are, the why is easier to attain because it's part of becoming who. Without the why, without the how, without the what, you're not going to get the who. But focusing on the who, you'll find that the other things become automatic, because the who becomes the driving force where you know, I will be a triathlete. It was my thing last year. Until then, I went and stuffed my knee up. Another story for another time, because I wasn't listening to my body. The signs are out there and I didn't listen. Lesson learned. Well, so I didn't quite get there, but I enjoyed the journey, and it's not over. It's just postponed. But focusing on who makes the journey so much more impactful. So that's the next step. You've got there a couple of things to do. I urge you, take them away. Use it. So I hope you found that useful. I hope you found it powerful. Oops, I've stepped one too far forward. Let me go back a little bit there. I'm just going to stop my screen here for a moment and come back to you guys. All right. I've enjoyed sharing about that. I'm just going to hand over. I'm going to invite Coach B to just come and share something with you guys before we then speak over to Ningi and Dr. C. I'm going to share quickly in the chats here the full recordings, 15 minutes of that TEDx talk by Altman. So while we're doing that, Coach B and Sandra started with a phenomenal thing last week, Tuesday. And when they told us about it, when they told me and they shared it with Ningi and Dr. C, I thought, wow, love it, love it, love it. Coach B, will you share with everybody what it is you're coming? And I'm just going to hand over, and you've got the microphone for a few minutes, as long as you need. Talk about this stuff and what you're doing and working on. Over to you.
Okay, thanks, Tim. We've been listening for quite a while to the way everyone says, even getting onto phase 2, it's so hard to get 25 people in even. One way to do it is just literally create 25 profiles. And we thought just by creating 25 profiles, we're not really doing the system much benefit. All we're doing is literally say, oh, I've now reached Power Legend. What can we do differently? So just breaking it down a bit. For a lot of people, just starting off even, it's hard to get 2 referrals. That's basically to become a power player. For me personally, I didn't find that too hard. I thought 2 was quite easy. Then I took the next step. I was getting 5 people to become a power pointer. I thought, okay, it took a while, and eventually could get there, and quite a few people managed to get power pointer. Then I started looking at the other ones, and I looked Power Elite 50. I thought, I'll never reach it. I'm generally very positive, and I thought, that's like 2 years away. And when I started breaking it down, I looked, okay, let's look at just power player, getting 2 referrals. So people that I've referred into the program, plus working with other people as a mentor. Let's get everyone just to get 2 people. Get everyone to become power player. Once they become power player, okay, well done, you've now got 2. Okay, let's duplicate that. Get another 2, or get each of those 2 people to get 2. And then once you've got 5, you then become a power pointer, which means you're now really starting to advance through the system. Then the next step, look at 10 referrals. A lot of people look, oh, I can't get 10 people in. So get 5 people with 2 each. That's basically 10 referrals. Power Legend, once again, is 25 referrals. So if you now get 25 people in, you can then leap from phase 1 to phase 2. And it took a lot of us quite a while to be able to get that. And then suddenly they open up phase 3, which you needed 50 referrals, but you needed 25 Power Legends. I thought, that's not for me. It's going to take 4 or 5 years to get there. And Sandra and I were sitting down and breaking this down, and we looked, okay, let's work on exactly the same. Let's start with 2 referrals for everyone. Once they've all got 2, let's get them help them get another 3, then another 5 to Power Ambassador. And eventually, everyone will be able to reach Power Legends. And by that time, the system's going to be going so fast, we're not going to know what's happening there. And then we go to the next step, which I call the ultimate power player, or ultimate power legend, which is 100, which to me also seems very far away. But once you break it down like this, it's quite simple. So when you come on the Tuesday call with Sandra and myself, we're going to teach you how, as a group, we can achieve all these positions. Thank you, Tim.
Muted. That's brilliant. So what do people need to do to join you on the Tuesdays? What time is it? Where's the link?
It's in on the Telegram group, on the Zoom links, Zoom announcements. It is there. Sandra posted it. I'll repost it again.
Wonderful. And what time is it on Tuesdays?
It is 7 o'clock South African time, 5 p.m. UK time.
There you go. Brilliant, brilliant. Let's get Jaco to do a poster on it as well. So this is going to take you guys who are saying, yeah, but I can't get there. How do I get there? I can't do this. It's not for me. It's impossible. It's pie in the sky. It's ridiculous. That's where they're going to take coaching. I'm going to do certain coaching on Saturdays. Then they're going to take down and they're going to help you applying these principles that they are physically using. These guys know who they are now and who they want to be. Without question, they know. So Coach Bernard and Sandra would be people that you could then follow. Follow their strategies, and they will take you with them on this journey. That's where you guys are going to be. So you've heard it. And thank you very much. Again, absolutely amazing. Community putting up their hands. Community saying, where 2 people in the community are saying, we're doing this. Who's on with us for this challenge? Everybody loves a challenge. So respect, thank you so much for putting your own time and your own effort into helping the community. And Sandra's not on the call on Saturday mornings because she's in Canada, so she's 8 hours behind. So it's only right now, what is it? It's 8 hours behind. Where are we? 4 a.m. No, 2 a.m. I don't know, something like that. She's fast asleep. She'll catch the recording anyway. So thank you very much for that. Absolutely amazing. As always, appreciate what you're doing. Okay, guys, now share that with your community. Get the people who just joined and saying, I don't know how to do this. Tuesdays at 7 o'clock. Make use of their commitment to the community, guys. please use it. Okay. Now, who else we got here? How hard is it to get 100 hours? Okay, Coach B, thank you for posting that on the chat box there. All right, guys. So who found that interesting? Who's like, yes, I mean, come on, put in the chat box here. Who just give Coach B an example, an idea, and saying, I want to be in, I'm part of that community. I'm going to be joining you on Tuesdays. Put it in the chat box there. Let's go. Who's in for this? Noel, thumbs up. Good man. Love it. Present. Me, Coach Bernard. Of course you're there. Great news. Coach Bernard's going to turn up for his own session. Ningi, she's in. Yes. Come on now. We've got a real leader. If Ningi says, I want to know what these guys are doing, and I would follow Ningi anytime in building a community there. Massini, excellent. Andre, great for you. Well done. Well done. Okay. I hope you're watching the recordings as well. Now, let's hand over. I want to hand over to Ningi. I've asked Ningi to come and share and give a little bit more perspective, making sure that we do have time for a Q&A session afterwards as well. But Ningi, some perspective, a little bit more. Welcome. Hello. How are you? Thanks so much for joining.
Morning, Tim. Morning, Dr. C. Morning, family. Thank you so much. Coach B, thank you so much. You've actually made this even easier. It's good to know that things are not left as pie in the sky.
Oh, Ningi, sorry, love. I don't know. Apologies for jumping in. Can you speak a little bit louder? My volume's all up, but you're quite soft. I don't know if anybody else is getting that as well.
Good morning, family. Is it better now?
Roughly. Am I the only one struggling with this? A little bit, yeah, Bernard says. I don't know, maybe you need to shout. Keep going. We'll make it work.
I am, and my volume is on maximum. Is
Okay.
it better?
Yes.
Is it better? Is it better?
Yes.
Thank you so much, family. And I was just saying, thank you so much to you, Tim and and Coach Bernard, because you've made what I just wanted to share already so easy. It is really important that when we introduce, vision, it is something that we can do. And it is always better if we can do it together. So it is amazing that what I'm sharing now, there's already a team of leaders that are ready to help us to ensure that it doesn't become pie in the sky, but that it is attainable. But the background of why all phases basically of power gifting are now opened, the criticality of it really is we have an amazing opportunity. I keep saying this, that nothing in our hands will ever remunerate us financially or put in our path financial resources at the scale at which power gifting does. Whether we believe it or not, it is really an economic model that is mathematically certain. The only distance is just time, and time really translates to our effort. So we have a vehicle where at phase 3, at the end of phase 3, we are able to gift each other gifts that add up to $500,000. And not just once, but this will happen 118 times. $500,000 just once is over 9 million rand in South Africa. Getting that just once transforms a life. But in this vehicle, in this community, our model says that will happen 118 times, just taking that one figure. So I will say again, it is important for us to understand we really have nothing else in our hands that rewards the way power gifting does. So with this understanding as the caretaker and mentorship team of power gifting, it is important, and it became very clear that those that we share the vision to must be afforded an opportunity where they can pace themselves through the entire opportunity from phase 1 to phase 3. What we've seen in the last year of our existence is there has been many shiny object distractions in our community in power gifting. And we understand that we are long-term, so we understand why that is so. But for someone who is disciplined economically, and a lot of people have tried many shiny things that have let them down, someone who is looking for a real community that will deliver on its promise, looking for something sound, something dependable that they can believe in and find a community to work alongside with, comes across to Power Gifting and gives themselves, say, 2 to 5 years to set themselves up, and they don't want to be distracted. They know Power Gifting is that community where they know what to do in phase 1, what to do to get to phase 2, and what to do to get to phase 3. And for me, this is critical in 2 points. Firstly, it is critical that we need leaders in this community. We have a fantastic opportunity. As Tim enlightened us last year, we are still at inventor stage. Family, we can't stay at inventor stage. We can't stay just being 1,000 odd of us in this community, sitting on this gold mine. It really isn't even fair, to the rest of people that are around us. So we are looking for people who will be the ambassadors of Power Gifting. Maybe we have some of them already, but I know that the world we have is much tinier to the world out there that we are still to share with. So another thing in opening up our full opportunity from phase 1 to phase 3 is when we get those people who are able to share the vision with their teams. Maybe they already have networks. It's easy for them because networkers tend to know, what do I need to do? What's the maximum? So that is open right up, not just $5,000 or $50,000, but $500,000. That is what we have in our hands. And that times 118 times. So that is first. That was, someone may think, but aren't we doing it too soon? It is for people that think like that, people who would prefer the whole opportunity opened up, that they can know this is something I can sink my teeth in and literally don't have to look elsewhere. I'm looking to set myself up for early retirement. I'm looking to set my community up for capital because my community has visions to build schools. My community has visions to build people homes, big money items. That's what Power Gifting affords us. And the second thing is like I say, just to eliminate distraction. So have the opportunity open that a person just can be so focused and not be distracted by anything else because they know, okay, I've tested, I've put what the community of Power Gifting said. I brought in 25 people. Indeed, I leapt to phase 2 and I then grew from just being a legend to being an elite. I brought in a total of 50 people. And from there, I found 25 that I worked with, that they themselves would be legend. And indeed, I leapt to phase 3. So it is really just to frame the work, make it easy to make it bite-sized, but knowing that the opportunity is completely open. And I hope this makes sense, family, as to why it's important to do it this way. It may not be all of us that feel like we're ready to run from phase 1 to phase 3, but trust me, if we just find 10 or 20 that are driven by that, the momentum it will drive in our community will be explosive. And together we will agree it really was worth doing. So yeah, that's it on my side, Tim. Thank you so much.
I'm muted. Thanks so much, Ningi. Yeah, you've said it beautifully, you said it distinctly. It's the bigger picture, guys. And I'm working on myself. Joy, it's beautiful. We really want, as the custodians, we want you guys to know the bigger picture. As we've always said, open cards, this is what it is. And when we knew from the programmers that this was possible, this is how it could happen, that's where we said, right, we want you guys to understand the big picture so you can see where we're going and what is infinitely possible. Even if you're not ready now, we get it. I'll be honest with you, I'm not ready for phase 3 now, not yet, but I know where I'm going. And that's the key thing, is if we know where we're going, how close can we get by December? Will we be on phase 3 by December? I don't know, but I sure as hell want to hit that. Aim for it, aim for the stars, hit the moon. That's the whole focus. Masini, we're going to jump onto some Q&A right now. I'm just going to see if Dr. Clinton's got anything that he wants to bring up to add to what Ningi's done on phase 3, and then we'll open up for Q&A.
No, Tim, you guys all did such a brilliant job, from yourself to Coach B to Ningi. I think everything was said that had to be said this morning. And I think, if we can all just lock into this and work our way towards it. It's so beautiful to know people can come into this platform and have the full view of what they should be doing and what they can achieve by doing what they should be doing. So that's it. Thank you from my side.
Perfect. Beautiful. Thanks a lot, Dr. C. Yeah, let's do 5 minutes of Q&A. So you guys, we're a wonderful group here. Massini, you're welcome to unmute. And I'm just going to go through the chats quickly as well. I see there's a couple of things in there. Hello.
Good morning, Tim. I have to thank you for a brilliant session this morning. It's exactly what I'm working on myself at the moment, so it definitely resonates with me. Thank you. Tim, my vehicle packed up last year in September, so I've been doing a lot of Ubering and chatting to the Uber guys. They are also desperate for extra money. So I'm definitely going to try this strategy of Bernard's and Samantha with them and see if we can get a team going. But I've got a very, I want to ask a question. I'd like to know, in our power gifting, would it be possible to give us a document, like a spreadsheet, to show us where we are on the various levels and how hard we have to work to jump to the next one?
So I'm going to turn over to Dr. Sioningi on that. Excellent on the Uber drivers, because those guys have really got what's that word? That word.
Entrepreneurship.
Entrepreneurial spirit and entrepreneurship. Yeah. So phenomenal way to, and they're all part of communities.
Yes.
You already know their thinking is ahead of a lot of people. So
my challenge with them is the finance so far.
Well, we can cover that. We can help them. Don't let that be the fallback, the stop.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Tim.
So yes, let's talk about numbers. Or Dr. C, maybe you want to bring this up. So the question being, is there a way we can see where we are sort of on the linear track of moving up to the next ones?
Yeah, at this stage, if you're talking about development of your website, it's going to take a lot of work, a lot of development, a lot of programming. So I don't foresee that being possible for us in the near future, because of obviously our developers is already working on getting us phase 3 ready. So it's going to be a development, prospect, development plan for the future, maybe to have a rolling kind of a announcement live on the website, ticking, or in the back office ticking to say this one currently loading, this one is following. But that's going to cost us a system upgrade. It's going to cost us money, and as we know, the system is self-funded. Yeah, we really have to get onto phase 3 and get phase 3 moving in order for the system to actually have this kind of money to put these developmental system upgrade things into place. So in the future, yes, I think it's a possibility that we will have it. It's been something that's been on our radar. It's just that I don't think we're at that point yet, system-wise, to be able to do that. And this is the reason why we give the numbers every power hour, just to give people an indication. Now we have to understand also when we are talking about what number is next, we have to understand that there's people that receive their 3 gifts faster than others and promoted faster than others. So the sequence is not in number form. It's in who promoted next in line. And so for that reason, we cannot say to you, we're loading at 500, so 501 is next. It's not possible for us to do that because there may have been people that promoted faster than 501, which is in the lineage of receiving gifts. Okay, so for that reason, I think the best would be to have a scroll or a rolling update in either the back office should be the safest place to put it. But yeah, that's not going to happen soon. But we'll get there. We'll get there.
Definitely. Thanks for that. I think one of the, I understand the need for it and be wonderful, and we've got the ideas where we're going. So Dr. Cleese spoken about that. Here's my perspective on that very quickly, Masini. Find one. That's it. Find one. It's all about the one. So you can know where you are. Yes, and it can be motivating and inspiring. Okay, so I'm here right now. What's my strategy to get there? Understand that. In the end, still going to have to find one. Still need to bring in one and help that person bring in one. It all comes down to that. Thanks for that question. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm glad you enjoyed the training today. Joyce says here, I'm working on myself. I know I'm a leader, a big one, learning every day. Can honestly say I will not drop the ball. I'll get there. So for me, I am here to achieve the goal. Love it. Love the energy. Thanks so much. Thanks for sharing. Arend asks, will this be added to the power gifting presentation? Will what? Will what be added to the power gifting presentation? I'm working on it, but what are you asking to add in? Where are you?
Yeah, let me just come in. We've opened the whole picture now, okay, of what the projection forward is. Okay. As part of the projection for the network marketers, they would obviously want to see what's happening in what the plan is for the future. Would that not be a good idea to add it into the presentation and say, hey, yes, we only start with $8, but all these phases are open. This is the potential for you in the long term.
100%. Yes, it is. That's what I'm presently doing. You'll find it on as a slide, as you'll find that P2's got a slide. P3 is also going to have a slide on Monday in the presentation. Presently working on it now. You're right. We want the networkers to realize this is not just $8, that this is the big picture. 100%, my friend. 100%. The aces in the pack of cards. Working on it. Yep, that's it. You've done my training before. Let's do that one again. I was actually having a chat with another networker. I did that first live years ago, and we were having a chat last week. His name's Chris. And he said, Tim, I want to join you on a Zoom one day and do the pack of cards again. It's such a powerfully visual one. Any other questions? Anybody else got something they would like to ask? The baby accounts, the movement, the levels. How do I do this? Why am I here? Why is it windy? It's not today. All right. Wonderful, guys. Thank you so much for joining. If you've caught this.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
sorry. I'm just thinking quickly. Let me just answer that consortium question now live, and then everybody can watch this recording. Let me answer that. Our whole vision in terms of the movement of power gifting hangs on us introducing people and not just introducing profiles. And so I want us to change our mindset, because people is asking, how can we get the consortium to qualify for phase 3? And that simply means, people want to, instead of working their own profiles, instead of becoming Power Elite, they want to work through the consortium. And, if you look at the disbursement of the payouts on that, then it's not going to match what you're able to get off your own personal profile. And I think people want to shy away from actually working their own profiles by looking at a short circuit of using something like the consortium. And that is not what we're in for here. We want people, individuals, to work their own profiles up to phase 3. You know, the consortium will benefit throughout the whole process of all of it. You'll still get those disbursements, you know, when it's time, but let's not try and short circuit the possibility for you as a person to actually reap the benefits of what is available here. Okay, that's my perspective on it, and I'll use that words of Tim, but that's my story and I'm sticking to it.
And those aren't my words. I actually borrowed them from, what's his name? American speaker. He says at the end of every time he shares his story, and his name's gone from a big black guy, phenomenal. He's been around doing this for years, motivational. He's one of the top inspirational speakers in the world, has been for years. Forget his name. Anyway, I borrowed it from him. He says at the end of all of this, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Thank you very much, Dr. C. Appreciate it. That's about the consortium. If you don't know what consortium is, it doesn't matter. You're not part of it. You can't be part of it. That was a 2022, 2023 thing. And it's, don't worry about it if you don't know. Thank you very much. No, Coach B is not John Maxwell. John Maxwell's a white dude. Same era. If I remember, I'll drop it in the, oh my goodness, I love his stuff. Gone from my head. No problem. Anyway, Les Brown. Ningi, you're a star. Les Brown, he says that. That's my story. I'm going to stick to it. Have an awesome weekend. I'll see you Monday at 7 p.m. Unmute yourselves. Say ciao. Thanks for joining. Bye.
Bye,
Bye, guys.
family.